Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a good morning. Luna and I had a good walk. It's kind of nippy out. It's 56 degrees out here. A little cool for a late April day, but let's have a little coffee, warm ourselves up, talk a little bit. Mm. So, I was going to continue to talk about uh, the data and the algorithm and how sometimes it's hard to align those to what you want the output to be. I'll give you a example that happened just this morning. So there's a gentleman in uh, Scotland who I have listened to. He's a movie critic, and I kind of like he's got an interesting take that he does on a lot of stuff. And one of the things he has kind of harped on is you don't have to destroy the past just because it's different from what you want the future to be. He, there's honor. We can honor the the past people and maybe even point out things that they didn't realize when they were uh, around, alive, or part of the thing. But you don't have to call them out as bad, evil, and stuff like that. So he's and he's pointed out a lot of times in films and some of the other things that shows and stuff we've seen, it's not good enough to have a hero who's a little more understanding of differences or uh, you know understanding of uh, flaws. You also have to belittle and reduce the people that who they're taking the place of. Because they're a hero or they're a super agent or they're a business owner or something like that, and they've got to make the previous business owner look like a scumbag. So, anyways, this that's the long story about why I follow him. And he had a snippet of an from the article of Mary Jane, which is a online news organization, and they were ranking the Star Trek Enterprise captains. And of course, the worst one was James T. Kirk. James T. Kirk was the worst. Now, his answer was probably appropriate. He said, fuck off. So I went over, and this is what I really want to talk about. I went over to ChatGTP and said, hey, ChatGPT, who's the best Star Trek Enterprise captain? And it said, well, there are three prominent captains: James T. Kirk, Jean-Luc Picard, and oh gosh, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember his name. He's the supposedly the first captain of the Enterprise. But anyways, he was, and then GPT said, there's strong. Strong points to each one of these, and it listed them out. It said it really comes down to your preferences as an AI. I really don't have a preference, but I liked it. But that's an example of how who's ever doing Mary Jane, that human, has a set of data and they have an algorithm that they've been taught in school or from people or from friends. Somehow they have an algorithm. We're fundamentally, we're kind of similar to Chat GPT. And their algorithm ranked him last. Chat GPT definitely did not rank him last. If anything, he it kind of made him focal. He was actually the first one that was pointed out with Jean-Luc Picard soon after that. But the point is that the algorithm did not list him last. Now, why is that? Well, we don't know because the people that are running ChatGPT, they don't tell you the details about how they create the products. But the data and the algorithm do not match the person that wrote the article at Mary Jane. That's the main point. I don't want to delve in too deeply as to how each one got their different opinions, but the point is that they did have different opinions. So when you have an AI come up, the AI has a personality and has data. You're like, well, it doesn't have a personality, it's programming. Well, in our society, personalities are somewhat defined by how we process data. A personality is somewhat how we react to data. So I would say, yes, it does have a personality. It's a very mechanical, not mechanical, logical, kind of like Spock, since we're on Star Trek. But it does have a personality, and it has data. And we're going to get pissed off that we don't like its personality. We don't like the lady or gentleman who wrote the, I don't know what I didn't don't even remember who the person was that wrote it, but their writing, and then somebody else says, but ChatGPT says you're wrong, pisses them off. They want it fixed. They want that changed. How do you make? I want ChatGPT to have my opinion, not its opinion. How do you do that? As a programmer, it becomes very difficult. And I have a very uh, a, a symbolic thing. It has nothing to do with AI, but I love the way um, a dear friend of mine said this. He said, a lot of times you can divine, and life defines things in a very gi- give and flow of change. Yeah, how things that go up, they go down a little bit. Everything goes like that. And over time, you can have the give and flow, and it might go up violently. It might go down violently. And so we say, well, we don't like that violence. We want it, but we're going to stop it. But that's going to cause it to jerk around a little bit more. So, and then it goes back to flowing. So the big question was, do you, how much do you control it? Damn it. Trying to get the ball, and I made it worse. Oh, okay, there we go. And this, the symbol, he says, let's say you take a flag. It can be an American flag, flag of your state, with Texas for me, or whatever state you're in or country, and you see it blow in the wind, and you pin a little section of it because you want it to blow a certain way. Now it doesn't flap quite as smoothly with the air. It kind of flaps, and then there's a little shutter near the middle where you pinned it. You pin it again, and you pin it again, just so you want it to flap a certain way, but eventually you have to do one or two. It becomes even more ugly and problematic. So, do you have to pin it down all the way? I don't know if you can do that with AI, actually, but that's what people do. Is you have nice flows, but they say, let's just force this, and we'll force that, force this. AI may be one of those things that's really hard to force. May really have trouble pushing it in a certain direction. She has really loud motorcycles. She doesn't like really loud motorcycles. The croc rockets are not your fan. You're not a fan of those, huh? You don't want to go ride one? So, anyways, that was my point today. Is I wanted to give you that example, and I wanted to talk about the fact that we're all algorithms, we're all data sets, um, and that's what the AI is, and we're not going to match it. And the question is how we as a human population are going to feel about sharing a space with something that has a data set and an algorithm that doesn't match what we want. So, how are you going to feel? Are you going to try to stop it? You're going to try to embrace it? You're going to try to understand it? That's the key questions that we have to address ourselves. And coming up pretty quickly, I'm listening also. Lex has a pretty good podcast. He's talking with one of the first AI, or the first person he had on a podcast. And he's an AI scientist. And he's talking about, you know, we have this big thing coming. And a lot of people just don't seem to realize how big it is. And it's going to shape a lot about our discussions and our talks. And oh, what squirrel? Oh, going behind the back. Usually, if I say the S word, she runs out after it. But yep, squirrel. It's up there in the tree. Oh, she can't see it. All right. Well, anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. And Luna and I are going to go inside where it's warmer. She says, I got a cold, old man. I'm fine. You're the problem.